guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I am basically just going to be talking about my ICAN journey. So I noticed that the ICAN result is out, and this is just to cheer people up. I'm going to be telling my story of how I became a chartered accountant. So I just got chartered recently this year, May 2023. Yeah, that's just last month. So um, I started my ICAN journey when I was in 100 level. I just resumed to Fountain University, and when we got in, we had a group of tutors coming into the school and advising us about what ICAN is, how ICAN can help us in future, like what we need as an accountant, why we need as an accountant to be chartered. They said being an accountant and without being chartered is just like a farmer that does not have a cutlass, something like that. You put it in one way or the other. Then I decided to tell my parents about it, and my parents were like, "Why not? I should register." So my father gave me the money for the registration. So I was supposed to write for September 2016. Yeah, I got in 2015, so I was supposed to write my first ICAN exam for September 2016. So I registered. I was supposed to write my exams in school, but I didn't later write my exam in school for some personal issues. In short, my father said he was not even going to pay for my exam any longer. That I dashed them the registration and the total tuition fee that I already paid. But my mom encouraged me, and she was like, she's not going to allow me to just sit at home during the holidays doing nothing when my mate are writing ICAN in school. So I left. I went home for holidays, and when I was at home, she took me to a center where I registered for my ICAN. As at the registration was just 9,000 naira, I guess. Right, I think it was 9,000 naira. So you're supposed to write from ATS one, because ATS one, then I wrote 4 papers for ATS one. After writing my ATS one, I passed 3. It's out of 4. So you're supposed to write FE, and that's financial accounts, economics, um, communication skills, and business law. I thought I was going to fail business law because the person that thought was business law was not like really active. So I had to like read by myself. My economics, I don't know. I'm always very scared of economics. I really do not like economics right from time. Like even from secondary school, I really do not like economics. So at the end of the day, I later failed economics because I was literally scared inside the exam because I was like, God, am I sure I'm going to write this paper? Like, am I sure I know what I'm going to write inside this exam? I literally peed on myself inside the exam hall. Like, this is how much I was so tense inside the exam hall. But the next time I was going to rewrite it, I wrote it like that was March 2017. When I was rewriting, I didn't take any lectures. I read by myself. I wrote it at home, no tutorial center or whatever. I rewrote the exam, and I was like, you know what? I give God the whole glory. If I'm not going to leave this stage, I don't know. Because I was still skeptical about me passing my economics exam. And finally, I passed. So the next diet was September 2017. So I was supposed to be writing ETS too. So I did not write it in school again. I wrote it at home. And at home, we were just two in the center that we were writing. Meanwhile, my partner that was writing with me, he had written March. She was just coming for a visit. While we were taking lectures for September diet, I was like, you know what? I know all these things now. We were taught in school. Like, I was confident, or let me say, overconfident. I was so confident of myself. Like, I was like, I'm going to pass this thing. Then IT, we didn't do IT in school, so I was scared. Like, I'm not sure if I'm going to pass it or I'm not going to pass it. Because our lecturer then just gave me a book and was like, you know, I should just go and read that. There's nothing he wants to teach me about it. Like, I should just go and read it by myself. So I read those things by myself. And I got to the exam and I was like, my dear, you don't know anything. Like, you never see anything. When I got to the exam, like, I was feeling like, what's this? Like, I literally did not know it. I finished my exam earlier and I called my dad, like, I'm done with my exams. And we're like, it's not yet 5 o'clock and you are done with your exam. I've done what I know. And they were like, okay, no problem. They was going to come and pick me up because I was writing my exam at Abwad. Abwad is very far from my place. And I cannot even transport myself. So my father had to come back and he picked me and was like, how was I? Like, it's very hard. I don't know it. Like there are some places that somebody advised me to read, and I was like, it cannot come out because it has not been coming out in past questions. My dad was like, hey, she was telling me that if somebody's talking to us that can that we should listen. Wow. Then the results came out. Out of 4 papers again, I passed just one and I failed 3 papers. 3 papers, and guess what I even passed? IT. That I was not even sure of, that I didn't even know it. I was like, wow, God is great. My mates that wrote exams together, that wrote exams in school, most of them passed. They had only 1 paper left. They had just QA left. Everybody knows QA is hard, but I feel like QA was not even hard, because I was thinking like, I know this, not me, and there's no more anything. So the next time I was going to recess for my exam, we finished school exam this Friday, and ICAN exam was on Tuesday, because ICAN exam is usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah. But for IATS, it's just Tuesday and Wednesday. I was like, how am I supposed to cope? I just finished school exam and we didn't even have lectures. We didn't take any tutorial or whatever. How was I supposed to cope? I barely know anything. I had to be clinching with my friends. Please, what have you read? What have you read? What have you read? Sat down together, do discussions and all. I knew that wasn't enough. Funniest part was I got to the exam hall again. I was sick. Like, I mean, I was sick. Like, I could not even read, like, during break. I was putting my head on the table through. I had to even bring water, took drugs. Like, I was really sick during the exam. And the funniest part was, surprisingly again, I aced it. Like, I wasn't even expecting myself to even like pass the exam, because I was like, you know what? Oh God. When my parents asked me when I was on my exam, like, how was the exam? I'm like, I don't know, because I could not tell them I was not even feeling fine, because time I was writing in school, because there was no way I could have come home for that exam and like immediately after school exam, there's no way I was going to do, so I wrote it in school. But thankfully again, I passed it. Thank God. So the next paper was supposed to be September. I think that should be 2018. No. Yeah, 20 September 2018. September 2018, I wrote it as 3. This time around, I wrote it in school. My parents left me to do it in school, because our school closed very late that year. We could not meet up. If I should go home, they will have done a lot of lectures before I join them. So in school, the people that come to school to come and teach us, they follow with our school timetable. So I had to be in school. Me and my friends, we wrote exams together, we read together, we studied together. I was scared of the exam, like, because my ATS1 I wrote 4, I passed 3, failed 1. ATS2 I failed 4, I failed 3, passed 1. ATS3 I was scared, like, hope I'm not going to fail everything this time around. But thankfully, to my own surprise and the way God does this thing, I passed everything at once. I was like, first time, passed everything at once. Wow, then this is, I was like, oh, then this is nice. Then went for induction. So it was nice having my friends with me, like, everybody passing exams together, and do the group thing to the ICAN induction center. That was not the end. So instead of me to wait till I finish school, then use my BSc certificate to start my ICAN, no, I said I was going to use my ATA certificate to continue with ICAN. So I wrote my skills. I wrote skills 2019, yeah, May 2019. I was in 400 level already then. So we wrote 4 papers because they exempted us from writing tax, because we wrote tax for ECS3. So they exempted us from writing tax. So we wrote just 4 papers. We wrote FR, financial reporting, PM, performance management, MG, it was called MG then, it's not called CSME, management, government and ethics, and what's the last one? Forgive me, I have forgotten the last paper that I wrote. I said PM, FR, MG, and PSA, yes, public sector. So I actually attended the same tutorial. People that taught us during ETS theory, they are same people I registered to PTS Center Oshogo. So I was in PTS. We were coming from school to center every time, because they could not come and teach us in school this time around. We had to go to the town to keep writing. We wrote letters to the school, signing exams. It was clashing with tests, clashing with classes, clashing with projects. But like, you know what, I'm going to do this. Not with the fact that I had my friends with me. We were about 4 that we were writing this paper together. So it gives me a little bit of a peace of mind Some of my mates were even stabbing classes for ICAN reading. I'm like, no, you see this thing, I have to balance the two together. I could not start class. I could not miss any test. I had to do the two together. I was not really reading for my test in school actually, because what we are doing in ICAN, we are still doing it in school. You get, so I was using my ICAN knowledge to like do school knowledge and that kind of thing. So that's what we were basically doing. Finally wrote the exam, and to my surprise, I thought I was going to fail PM, but no, I passed PM and I failed FR. And I was like, I saw my results. Okay, when we're writing skills and professional, the show was our school. I saw 25. I was like, guy, didn't I even do compulsory question at all? Because when we wrote our exam, then compulsory mark was 40. I was like, Ejo, Shemi Kokokoni. Well, like, you know what? I'm going to do this again. So out of 4 of us that wrote, no, maybe 4 or 5. We were 5. 2 people passed everything. Then 3 of us, we had reference for FR. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to write this thing. I'm not going to give up on you. I have started this thing, I have to complete, and I have to go and join my friends at the front. So after May, November diet, yeah. So November diet, I rewrote my FR. I was a little bit angry with myself, like, how would I feel FR? Well, like, I don't want to be angry, because if I am angry with myself, I am not going to read for this thing. Then I tried all my possible best to read and pass at once. I didn't really do much of reading. The only thing I was doing then was going to class, and I make sure I didn't miss any class. And I was very attentive in class. Unlike the first one, when I get tired, I'm just going to put my head on the table and sleep. But this time around, I was like, no sleeping in this class. And then when I get home, I'm going to revise whatever I learned that week. I'm not carrying it over to the following week. Like, that was the thing I gave myself. That was the assignment I gave myself. No carryover. Once you finish this class, you are going to attempt all those questions. And I did all of those and worked past questions. That was all. I swear to God, I passed my exam. I didn't even bother checking my scores till today, because I really did not want to know. Because I was coming back from camp when the results came. I was even so scared to even check it out. Like, is it this thing? I'm going to check it. I was at public transport. I saw my results. I saw it. Tears even came out of my eyes. I was like, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Like, effortlessly. Like, I didn't even do too much and I passed. Even when I was even reading 24/7, almost skipping tests, I still failed. But thankfully, I passed that, and I was like, on to the next professional, start year doings. When I got to ABK, I had to look for a center. In short, I got 2 centers. First center I went to, I wasn't comfortable with the timetable, so I left. Then I went to the next center. They kept postponing. They were like, we should come to the class, come and start reading. I think I was the only one where, like, they cannot literally meet that, but I should just come to the class. Hopefully other people are going to join. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to write this exam regardless. I'm going to read myself and I'm going to pass this exam. I called my tutor in Oshobo, like, I explained my predicament. So like, I'm not sure I can write this exam. I'm like, I'm going to write it. I called my friends. My friends were like, you can do it now. You know FR. Since you know FR is the same thing with CR, just a little bit advanced. You know PM is a little bit advanced of SFM. What again are we doing? Taxation. Taxation is your favorite subject. Okay, yes, I like taxation. You're like, taxation is your favorite subject. So what is in taxation that you do not know? You're going to get it. What else do you do? Audits. You're like, I might have a little problem with audits, because I really don't like audits. And I don't like reading, because it's just plain written. Like, why? I don't really like it. And case study, you that are good in writing. If it's to write reports, you are good in writing reports. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'm going to do it. I registered for the exam. I think a week to the exam, I can cancel our exam due to this corona nonsense. Even then, I already go and meet people that are going to teach me the case study. Like, you're going to say half of it first, and we conclude the remaining one. So I was thinking, okay, fine. Somebody already taught me, even on the FRPM that I think I don't know very well. Somebody already came to my house and explained to me. I was like, I'm ready for this exam. That's how I can cancel paper. I got home. I went back to my father's house. I was reading initially, but later I stopped reading, because I was like, I am tired of reading this thing. So I said I wasn't reading any longer. Then I stopped reading. I got back to ABK when they lifted the what are they calling it? The corona whatever. When they lifted it, so I went back to ABK. I was still flexing. That's why I can send message. Our exam is in the next 1 month. I'm like, wow. I don't want to start reading. Like, I am not ready to read, bro. I am not even ready at all to read. But I started trying to read, but I wasn't even assimilating any longer. But I was trying so hard, like I have to read this thing. 60k obudo jono abile la so fun exam. Can't remember. I think it's more than 60, 87,000, I guess. 87k new obudo jono. Like I cannot waste my money on top of this thing. I can't. I can't just sit down. They look me. I shall they read. I they read. Guys, exam they came. I look at this question. Question they look me. As I see formula for SFM, I cannot even apply the formula because what the fuck is this? I swear, I never underestimate the power of going to lectures. That's the only thing I know for this. I can like never underestimate the powers of going to lectures. Guy, I suffer. Results came out. I failed every fucking thing. It has never happened before. You know, all my stories that I've been mentioning, I have never failed everything. The worst that happened was for me to fail 3 and pass 1. This time around, I failed the whole 5. I was like, bro, this has never happened to you before. What's wrong? Are they following you? Are my village people after me? Like, bro, I was literally crying. No, I was crying. I cried for like a week because if I had even failed that and I had like 20 something or 30 something or that would have been good. But no, I scored 10, 15, 12, 11. The highest I had was 21, and that was case. So they were like, yeah, I am done for it. I called my father and my mother. I told them, now 1 week my mom used to call me and be abusing me, saying, I'm not no book, I'm not sabi book. After all of this, I went back home because we were done serving. I went back home. My parents were even confused, like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to write the whole 5 papers? Some people advise I write the whole 5 papers and consider maybe 3 or 2 that I want, then that kind of thing. But like, they are just contemplating. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to write 3. Mom starts pick any 3 that I know that I can ease. I said, okay, I am going to do CR, taxation, and case study. Feels like I have a little bit of power over there because I was already scared of SFM because I was like, you know what, I don't think I can do this SFM. And I have a lot of people that do complain on SFM. All this, I really do never like all this before. So I did the 3. I was reading, attending lectures. This time around private lectures. I was attending lectures because I had only 1 month to prepare for the exam. Oh, should come to prepare for the exam. That's how I was attending lectures, doing everything. My case study, I didn't even bother reading for it. When the precinct came out, I studied that precinct like as if I was going to die. I wrote the reports for that precinct. I wrote it like 3 different times, 3 different sheets of paper. Morning of exam day, I was just reading all my reports. Like, you see this thing that I have written, that's what I am putting. The additional one that they're going to add inside the exam hall is not my problem. I know I'm going to do it. And I foresee question that I feel like it was going to come out. I had to go and check for the formulas. I read formula, put it in my head. I went to the exam hall. Oh, and behold, results came out again. My dear, I failed 2. I passed 1. Guess what I passed? Case study. Case study. I didn't tell people that my exam was during case study. I wrote to the point that I was tired of writing. I could not write any longer. Like, I had to drop my pen. It was about an hour to the end of the exam, and I was looking at everybody. Everybody was writing. I was like, Wendy, are you sure you have not written rubbish here? Marriott, sure, put it so well, but to my surprise, as course since the 4 in case study, I will not forget. Yeah, I cannot forget because I was so shocked. Like, for that score, I was angry with myself. My friends were like telling me at least I should be happy I passed case study, that if I've passed case study, like almost half of my problem has been solved. I don't know how people have been feeling case study, blah 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 blah. I wasn't happy. I had to rewrite the whole exam. I could not even tell my parents at home the truth, like I failed this particular course again. I had to lie to them at home that I passed everything. Then I had to start preparing for 4 papers this time around now. Then I have SFM case, I have SFM, PM, CR, taxation, and all this to write. And I told God, I said, God, I beg. See these people I'm coming here to write. If I thought I'm feeling anyone, just don't allow me to be CR or taxation, because I told them they already believe I passed that exam. But nevertheless, I just want to pass the whole 4 paper. I started reading for every other course apart from CR because I was angry with myself. Like, why would I be writing CR for the very 3rd time and I am feeling? Coupled with the fact that everybody I've seen around me have been saying they passed their CR once, like they didn't even bother having to rewrite CR. But yeah, I am rewriting CR. So I was angry with myself. I was not even reading PR. I focused on every other thing, especially SFM, because I know SFM is always hard. Everybody has been complaining about SFM. In short, I was teaching people in the tutorial. I was teaching my friends SFM because she had to like split topic. Then about a month to exam, I was telling myself, bro, you do not want to rewrite CR, do you? I'm like, no, I don't. And I was like, if you don't, then you have to start reading for this. You know what I did? I carry my CR pack and my phone. I don't sleep in the midnight then. So it was even during Ramadan. I don't used to sleep. I said for this 1 month, I am going to finish this thing. I did not finish it, but I almost finished it. I think I had like 2 topics on that I decided that I was not going to even read. So once I pick one standard, after I've read it, I am going to YouTube to go and watch a video that talks about that particular standard. Once I'm done with it, I am done. I didn't do past questions though. Once I am done with it, I am done with it. I knew what I was looking for in those places, and that was what I followed. And that was what I like had in my head. That was how I did for my CR. A day to CR exam, I saw some people, they came around, they were talking about one stupid thing like that. I can't really remember. All of them were now mentioned. I can't they look like, bro, are you sure we are writing these exams together? I was like, wow, this cannot be. I was already crying, and Glory called me and she was like, Maris, you don't have to worry. You are not like us. If we read, it takes us a long time to assimilate. But for you, once you read, you already assimilate it, and that's all. I'm like, okay, fine. She was like, what I know is enough. You cannot read for the O 06 questions. We're actually going to write just 4 questions. So why stressing yourself? I'm like, okay, fine, no wahala. I just calm myself down, observe my nawafi, and we're going to exam. This was 2020. Did I mention? May 2020. Hello, bro. I wrote 4 exams and I passed 3 and I failed 1. Guess what I failed? SFM. SFM that I was sure that I must not fail. I cried all my life. Then later I sat back and I was like, why are you crying? You wrote 4 papers. You passed 3. You're supposed to be happy. But I was crying more because my parents felt like I wrote 2 papers and I still failed 1. Like they felt like I wasn't serious. So I think that was what was getting into my head. And I was like, give yourself the confidence. You can do this. So after I finished, I was not reading immediately for the next paper. My parents were like, I'm no longer going to Shobo to write my papers. That it seems like I was just playing in center. That's the reason why I didn't pass. I went to Lagos. I went to cancel for another exam in Lagos. No, I can exam though. So I had to come back earlier because it was like a month to exam and I started reading for SFM. This time around, I went to tutorial center. And this man, tutorial center in Ikiti, did not collect money from me because he knows me from 8 years. And he was like, this is just to encourage me. Wow. I was like, this is an heavy load on me because somebody is putting a whole trust on me to pass this exam. So if I don't pass the exam, Oja want to fuck up. And I did not want to fuck up. So I started reading and reading and reading and reading and reading and reading again. Lo and behold, my sister, my brother, I failed again. I know what? After I failed this time around, like I was angry. Yeah, I was very, very angry with myself. And I was like, you know what, I don't know what I'm going to do again. I'm just going to be going to lectures. I thought I was going to be using the formula I used when I failed FR. Go to lecture and don't carry over these lectures. So that was already 2020. That was 2021, right? 2022 again, yeah. 2022 May diet. What's 2022 May diet? 2022 yeah, May diet. 2022 May diet again. I rewrote SFM. This time around I was in Ikiti again. I had to pay for lecture this time around because man cannot keep giving me free lectures. I had to pay again. Then I paid and wrote this exam. Again, I failed. At this point I gave up. I was like, you know what? I'm not writing this exam again. I'm going to give myself a long break before I write this exam because I'm tired of writing exams and failing exams. That's what I said to myself. I didn't bother preparing for exam. I didn't read. I was just behaving as if nothing was going wrong. Then about 2 months to exam, my father called me and I was like, I'm not going to force you to write this exam, but don't you feel you should write this exam? And like, I think I want to write. So like, you think you want to write and you're not even ready for the exam yet. The exam is just in 2 months. I'm like, I'm not yet sure. I don't know what I want to do in my life. Then later, I think it was around October. Yeah, early October, I told my dad like, I want to go to Shogbo to write my exam. Didn't even think so. They were like, okay, fine, you can go. But going to Shogbo, I wasn't going to go to the center, and I wasn't attending lectures because I don't want to attend lectures and I don't want to see anybody. I don't want anybody see me and being like, you have not seen past this exam. And I don't want anybody see me at the other side. People be reading and be like obstructing my head and be saying, do you know this one? Do you know this one? Do you know this one? Hello, you got lecturer today. You should not come and bother me and don't come and make me feel like I don't know book at all. So that was what was in my head. I decided to go to my cousin's place. I didn't tell anybody that I was in Oshogbo because I didn't want to be walking up and down. I was literally in Oshogbo. I was reading. I decided like I'm going to wake up early morning, just like I did for my CR. I'll open one chapter and go to YouTube. But this time I knew it was not YouTube. It was just me and my pack, because this is no standard. This is SFM. If you are listening to two different lectures, it might confuse you. So I was using my old notes for the first SFM class I took in Oshogbo, the one I failed. I was using my notes, I was using my pack, and I was using ICAN textbook. So those are the things I was using. I started reading. I was reading. I'll take a day off. I'll sleep. I'll read. Sometimes I go out to see my friends just to refresh my head. I think I took about a week off that I was not even reading. I was with my friend. I was just playing. I knew what I was doing, not because I was, apart from the fact I was tired of reading, I think I needed a break. I think that's another thing everybody should know. When you are reading, you should know your weakness and how best you can read, the best condition you can read, best time for you to read. So I read and but I was like, you know what? Fuck this exam. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. If I fail again, I'm going to write it again. That, but me putting so much effort and I'm going to fail this paper. No, God forbid. I got to the exam hall. In short, I could not even sleep overnight. I think I had a little bit of phobia. Like, guy, you didn't really read. When you did research, you know pass. Now when you know reading, call. So I was having those kind of thinking in my head, and I was like, whatever it is, fuck you, fuck it, fuck it. I'm gonna write this exam. I had any when I was going to the exam hall. I saw people that I know they related. They were like, yeah, still writing an exam. Like, yes. They were like, do you take a break? I was like, yes. You take a break or it's exam. I was like, yes. And they were like, okay, no problem. That God bless this exam for me. And I was like, amen. By this time, most of my friends, they already chatted. So I just wrote the exam. So it was a bit hard. I can't really say if it was hard or it was simple. I can't really say. I did the best I could do. And I always have this in the back of my head. Never leave any question undone. Attempt 4 questions. Attempt your whole 4 questions. It's not compulsory you finish everything. So I did all of those. And I was like, see, Subhana Rebecca, this is my hand up. I finished my exam. I was even feeling sick. I don't know the reason I was feeling sick. But I just went to go and I think I went out. I ate and relaxed, and I got home and I didn't even bother thinking about it. I didn't even ask my father to even ask me that how was my exam. I don't want to know. Nobody should ask me how was my exam. Lo and behold, results came out. When I first checked my results, I failed. Then the next day, was it the next day? Yeah, the next day, my tutor called me from Oshogbo. I was like, this one is calling me. I'm not going to pick a call because I don't have mouth. I'm going to tell you that I failed the exam again. In short, my father did never abuse me, but my mother, she rained me a lot of abuses. She rained a whole lot of talks on my head. I knew it was coming from a place of love, but man, those words were too much for somebody. Then a few minutes after my tutor called me, I got a message from ICAN. ICAN result is out and sent me the link to where I was going to check my score. Like, I can't send me score waiting. Like, I can't send me link. And most times when they send me links, I pass my exam. And I'm like, waiting happen. Now I know the later like just go and check. Just go and even see the nonsense thing that you scored. Then I was trying to check. So then I was trying to check that I noticed that the exam number I used to check my score a day before, to check past this a day before, was my May diet exam number, not my November diet exam number. Hello, I checked my score. I scored 62. 62 in SFM. No class, no lectures, just me reading my thing by myself. Guy, I'm a genius. Like, you don't need. So that this one I know that I'm no book. Just write my exam like in a little bit of ease. no tension, nothing. You're going to write this exam and you're going to ace it. I was very, very happy, like to the point that I had to go and borrow airtime to even call my mother and my father in the office that I passed my exam. I checked a wrong score yesterday. Like, I was so glad. To be very honest, it was rough. I swear to God, it was rough. I'm just saying this because now it is easier for me to say, because looking back at it, I had a very rough time. Like times that are not going to be no food, no food to eat. Because I was studying up for my exams. Honestly, like I have nothing but to give grace to God. Like it's crazy. I said I wrote 4 exams when I was in Oshogo. I I could not tell my parents at home. I was using my feeding allowance to pay for my lectures and to also pay for, it's crazy, to also pay for my exam. I can't mention my ICAN story and not mention my mom, because if my mom left me alone after my father said he was not ready to pay for my ICAN any longer because I offended him, I would not have reached this level. And if not for my tutorial center, my tutors that they were like behind me too. Actually, this priest really did a lot, because he had to subsidize for me, because I told him I could not tell my parents I failed my exam. He subsidized my account fee for me and he helped me one way or the other. And to Mr. Olaye that they asked me not to pay for my exam just because he wanted to encourage me. To be very honest, I feel like I owe them a lot of thank yous. And I passed the exams, and I'm not even still available to even attend the induction I've always been dreaming of. My dear, I had a lot of dreams for for my induction. In short, I had been planning clothes in my head. So just this last one I wrote, I was like, you know what? I am not planning for any clothes any longer until this result is out. The results came out, but I knew I was not going to be attending the um I was not going to be attending the induction, because obviously I'm going to be flying away. So I'm just going to show you clips of how I did my induction online. I paid for my induction and I did my induction online. It was so beautiful seeing everybody. And you guys, if you did not pass this exam, don't worry, you're going to pass it and you should not give up. That's just going to be my simple advice for everybody. Don't forget to share this to your friends that you know have passed their exam. You people should share your stories to other people, and to those people that have not passed also, you should also share my story with them. This is just going to encourage you that you can always do it. I have seen people that said they wrote exam 10 times. I can't even count how many times I rewrite paper like this with all my stories. If you are following, if you send me accounts and put this in the comment section. But to be very honest, at the end of it, you're going to be so proud of yourself. I know it is very, very difficult, but you can always do it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If not for anything, but just to see my beautiful face. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Bye.